Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like,
man. Thank goodness.
Welcome to the HEX Late Show. It's 43 OG here with you on a Tuesday evening with the mighty Blue Bum. What's going on, mate?
Hey, man, I'm good. Just kicking back, watching the markets go up.
I know. Go you, good thing. And we can't start the HEX Late Show without a blood orange and mango Schweppes. Oh yeah. Okay, mate. What's been happening?
Not too much. Yeah, it's just like I got kind of a little bit pissed off at crypto after that beat hack, and so I haven't been paying too much attention. But it's nice to see the markets pumping.
You got pissed off at crypto because of the beat hack. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So I've just been kind of like, haven't been watching too much for the last week or two since that happened.
Yeah.
Just trying to.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's the basics, right? They're the basics that we know.
Over and over.
We've gone over and over, but it's so, you know, it's enticing, isn't it? It's enticing. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But everyone's you know, grown adults, you would think. Most people are participating in this thing. And, you know, you've got to know that whenever you get into something that's a little bit more risky, that there's, you know, always that risk. There's always that risk. And, you know, crypto as a whole is isn't it? As a whole, really risky. But it's not as risky as this. Check this out.
Oh, kung masusunog dyan, masusunog yung patong dyan. Itayo ko. Sabi ko, tigilan mo na yan. Pasok ka na. Magbukas yung tigilan mo na yan eh. Ako na lang, ma'am. Mamaya niyan ako na lang. Eh, buti! Ulo to! Ba't mo nilang yung mainit eh? Huwag, di mo pala mainit. Ulo ka.
Playing with fire, man. Playing with fire.
Nice one. Where do you find that stuff?
On the internet,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Just on the internet. But yeah, we have got the Hex Contract game show that we're going to get stuck into. Are you ready, Bluey? Are you ready, mate? Have you got your Hex hat on? Your Hex Contract hat on? Everyone in the chat, you're welcome to play. Encourage you to play, and find out where your Hex knowledge is at, your Hex Contract knowledge. So without further ado,
$880. You want both showcases at $1 million bucks. You want both showcases at $1 million bucks. $1 million bucks, buddy.
Over $1,300,000,000,300 million.
The United States of America.
there we go. Are we ready? Tell me in the chat. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Let's get stuck into it, hey? Okay. So, multiple choice questions. A, B, C, or D. The first question is, what smart contract standard was used to create the Hex contract? A, ERC 404. B, ERC 721, C, ERC 20, or D, ERC 777?
I'll go C.
You're going to go C? I'll just read it out again. What smart contract standard was used to create the Hex contract? A, ERC 404, B, ERC 721, C, ERC 20, or D, ERC 777? And you've said, Blue Bum said C. I can see Angor has said C, Clintron C, Ash C. And the correct answer is, of course, ERC 20 C. So well done, everyone. We're off to a cracking start.
Have you looked into the ERC 404 stuff?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Not really. All I heard was that it's like a new standard, so it's like things are like an NFT and also like a token. So you can have liquidity, more liquidity.
Okay. I saw
NFTs.
a tweet by Alex from Hedron, like asking about, has anyone messed around with it? I saw that tweet.
No, that's with the new standard, I think. That's a different one that he was talking about, wasn't it?
Oh, was that a new one? Was it? That wasn't another one still.
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, he says delegate call stuff in 8.20. What's 8.20?
Oh, 8.20. Right. Okay. I looked up ERC 8.20 and found it was a dot matrix printer model number. And that's where I stopped Googling.
Right.
Anyway, question 2. And yes, well done to everyone in the chat. I think everyone got that right. And if you didn't get it right, that's okay. We're here to learn. So question 2, how does the Hex contract pay stakers? A, it holds Hex in reserve to pay stakers. B, it uses a flat 3.69% per annum inflation rate. C, it charges fees on transactions to pay stakers. Or D, it swaps Ethereum and or Pulse for Hex in a decentralized exchange to pay stakers. I'll read it again. How does the Hex contract pay stakers? A, it holds HEX in reserve to pay stakers. B, it uses a flat 3.69% per annum inflation rate to pay stakers. C, it charges fees on transactions to pay stakers. Or D, it swaps Ethereum and or Pulse for HEX in a decentralized exchange to pay stakers.
I'm going to go B.
You're going to go with B, and the correct answer is yes, indeed, it's B. I can see everyone in the chat has got that one right as well. Good work. We're off to a good start. Question number 3. What happens to HEX tokens when they are staked? A, they are held in a reserve fund. B, they are burned. C, they are exchanged for other cryptocurrencies. Or D, they are sent and held in an address ending in the numbers 3695555. I'll read it again.
Read them out.
What happens to HEX tokens when they are staked? A, they are held in a reserve fund. B, they are burned. C, they are exchanged for other cryptocurrencies. Or D, they are sent and held in an address ending in the numbers 3695555.
B.
B, they are burned. Correct. Well done. Well done. Okay, question 4.
We should also just put a little note with that one. We should just put a note with that one that, like, when we say burnt, it means they're sent to an address where they can never come out of.
Yes. Yep. That is.
They're not actually burnt; they're actually locked away.
Are they're sent to that null address? But if we go to that null address, can we see what's in there?
Yeah, you can, can't you?
Can you? We need to verify. We need to verify on stream. So let's. Where can I get the null address? Let me bring it up. There we go. Where's the null address?
How many zeros is it?
No, it's a lot of zeros. Is this the null address? No, that ends in D. So I want that one, but I'll end it with a 0. Tricking me with the end. Wow. Null address is rich as fuck, man.
Yeah.
Null address is rich as fuck. So there should be HEX in here then, right?
I guess so, yeah.
You would think there would be shitloads of HEX in here.
Yeah. But also that HEX is not counted as part of the supply, is it? If it's in the null address.
No, I don't, dude. You know what? I don't think it goes here. I think it actually gets destroyed.
Like it's sent to another address with no.
You know, we should find out right now. I'm sorry, the game has to be put on hold. We're going to look up the HEX contract. We're going to find a stake. We're going to click on that fucking null address, and we're going to find out what the hell is going on. Here we go. Here's a start stake transaction right here. Can you still see my screen, by the way? No, you can't see my screen.
Yeah, I can. You can, yeah.
Okay. So we're at the HEX. Here we are. HEX contract on Ethereum. All right. I'm using Ethereum because, unfortunately, right now.
Yeah, it's sent to the null address.
That's what?
It is sent to the null address.
Where did we go?
You can't click
All right,
the
here.
null address.
Hang on. So these all end stakes. That's a start stake. So what happens if I click on that address?
I've got it here. I'm looking at all the hex in the null address now. Yeah, I'll put the link in.
You're looking at all the hex in the null address right now.
Yeah.
Are you?
I gave you the link, yeah.
Let me grab it. 1 second. There we go. Copy link. That is an interesting question. We need to put that on the list of things to ask, because when you click on, so what's interesting, right? And I'm not sure if you can see my screen right now.
Yeah.
But you probably can't see the page that I'm on. Which is the one I'm sharing, is the question. I don't even know which one I'm sharing. I'm going to do so. I'm going to move it over to this tab here. I'm going to share this one. It's going to make my life a little bit easier. Hey. Okay. There we go. All right. So here we have the null address. And this is the address where when hex is burned, it gets sent here. But what does the contract, because when I look down here on token holdings, right, it's the most expensive ones at the top. The most money is at the top, right? So you would think that, right, would hex be here if that's how it was dealt with? Wouldn't it be here? It's only 126 million dollars of.
I don't know. It's not coming up in the null address wallet, but you can see all the transactions going into the null address.
Yeah. Interesting. We need to ask a dev. That's a dev question. It's beyond our pay grade. Let's get back to the the thing. Okay. Question for a dev. Okay. Where's Base Radian at? I need to ask Base Radian. Okay. Where were we? All right. What is the question number 4? What is the maximum length for a stake in hex? A, 1,820 days. B, 3,641 days. C, 5,000 days. Or D, 5,555 days. Could we have an easier question than that?
Yeah, D.
That's right. It's D. Probably didn't even give people time to type it into their computers. Okay. Question number 5. How does the longer pays better bonus in hex increase? A, quadratically. B, exponentially. C, logarithmically. Or D, linearly.
Linearly, D.
I'll read it again for everyone in the chat. Question 5. How does the longer pays better bonus in hex increase? A, quadratically. B, exponentially. C, logarithmically. Or D, linearly.
Oh, hang on. Longer pays better. So that's okay. So that's well. That's an interesting question. Pays better. Goes up. So it goes up and then it plateaus. Oh, maybe that's. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how much it increases.
Well, you got to come up with an answer.
So it's,
We need-
it's
What did you say before?
my first thing was linearly, like linearly. Logarithmic
Linearly.
is a percentage change, isn't it? And
Logarithmic is it depends.
how many more shares do you get if the longer you do? So it goes up. Like
Well,
1 year,
it's 20% per year, right?
mm,
20% more shares per year.
all the way up to like around 40%.
Up to 10 years.
Yeah.
It's 20% per
So-
year for 10 years. So at 5 years,
Oh, that's right.
you've got
Two.
double.
So it's
You've got double.
Yeah. So it's so the number of shares you get, it's like you get an extra 0.2 or something every year. So I'd say linearly D.
And that is the answer. It's linearly D, because it goes up the same every year.
Yeah.
You know, from first year. Well, it's actually on a day by day basis, but it's calculated. You know, just for ease.
Per
It's
year.
easy
Yeah.
for us to explain. 20% per year. So D, yes, D. Up to 10 years, that is. And then there's no more longer pays better bonus. That's where the longer pays better bonus caps out. Question number 6. What is, do we need, can I ask, do we need some, like, I feel like we need some game show music in the background or something while we're doing this.
No, that's cool. This is like, it was pretty good. The video at the start's pretty good. We've got the taste in our mouths.
What is the maximum bonus percentage for the bigger pays better bonus in HEX? A, 5%, B, 10%, C, 15%, or D, 20%?
B.
You're saying B, 10%? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll read it out again for the people in the chat. What is the maximum bonus percentage for the bigger pays better bonus in HEX? A, 5%, B, 10%, C, 15%, or D, 20%? And Blue Bum is correct. The answer is B. 10% is the maximum bonus percentage for the bigger pays better bonus in HEX. How does the bigger pays better bonus in HEX increase? A, quadratically, B, exponentially, C, logarithmically, or D, linearly? I'll read it again. Question number 7. How does the bigger pays better bonus in HEX increase? A, quadratically, B, exponentially, C, logarithmically, or D, linearly?
It actually is none of those because it actually doesn't increase. It's a flat percentage.
That is incorrect.
Is it? Damn. So then linearly.
Is that your answer?
Not really, because it's like it's a bigger pays. It's the more money you put in, the more of a bonus you get, and that caps out at 10. Oh, okay, hang on. So that caps out at 10%. So what's the increase? Oh, it's not just a flat 10%. No.
Nope. How
Is it
does the
small?
bigger pays better bonus in HEX increase? quadratically, exponentially, logarithmically, or linearly.
Linearly.
So you've rolled. Which one are you going with? D.
Yeah, linearly.
Okay. The answer is quadratically.
Really?
Yep.
Isn't that the squared? So it's like whatever it is squared. Is that quadratic?
So so I think it goes like this. I think for 1 million hex, you get 667 bonus hex. Right? For 2 million hex, you get 2,667 hex. For 4 million hex, you get
Hang on, isn't it? Doesn't it do with
10,000.
isn't the share rate? It's the share rate that percentage is applied to.
Yeah,
right?
that's correct. But you get more shares with those extra hex bonus. So it's the bonus hex that buys the extra shares. That's how it works, right?
Right.
So 4 million hex, you get 10,672 extra bigger pays better hex. And then it doubles. 8 million hex gets you 42,668
Oh, really?
bonus hex. And that keeps going. And that keeps going until you get to 150 million hex.
But how?
And then you get, and the bonus, and the bonus at 150 million hex is 10% of that.
That's the max.
Yes, and that's the max.
So, what is quadratic? Isn't quadratic mean, like I always thought quadratic means you get the squared function of whatever number.
Quadratic means 4. So multiplied by 4.
Oh, is it just multiplied by 4? Quadratic. Okay.
In this example, it's multiplied by 4, and that's why they're calling it, and that's why it's quadratic, because the amount of hex that you have, let's say you got 1 million hex, and you get that is it 667 extra hex?
This is taking me back to my calculus though. Like, isn't a calculus a quadratic equation?
Yeah, this is quadratic. It's a quadratic thing because the amount of hex that you have, right, in your stake, the bonus you get, so that for every time that goes up, so every time that doubles, the bonus quadruples.
Oh, that's also 2 squared is 4. So it actually is the square.
Dude, I didn't do maths at uni, so I don't want to, but I know that this answer is correct because it came straight out of the staking deep dive. So it's definitely a quadratically, but yes, interesting. Question number 8. In the HEX contract, what does the term shares refer to? A, the total number of HEX a user has staked. B, the proportion of total HEX supply owned by a user. C, the proportion of daily inflation and penalty payments a user is entitled to. Or D, the amount of HEX a user receives as a bonus for staking. I'll read this again. I want everyone to listen carefully because these are not just,
They're close.
Listen to the words. You need to listen to the words, right? In the HEX contract, what does the term shares refer to? A, the total amount of HEX a user has staked. B, the proportion of the total HEX supply owned by a user. C, the proportion of daily inflation and penalty payments a user is entitled to. Or D, the amount of HEX a user receives as a bonus for staking.
C.
Correct. It is C. So the one there that's thrown in there to throw everyone off is B,
Yeah.
which was the A, which was the total number of hex a user has staked, right? And that's the first thing you think, but that's not, because the amount of time you stake it for is going to change the share that you have. So yes, the proportion of daily inflation and penalty payments a user is entitled to. Yep, absolutely. Question number 9. What is the maximum number of days for which staking HEX receives a linearly increasing bonus? A, 1,820 days. B, 3,641 days. C, 150 days. Or D, 1,000 days.
You should have put 5,555 in there, but it'll be 3,641.
I'm going to blame the AI for that. Damn you, AI! You should have put 5555 in there.
Is that how you got those questions with AI?
Yep. I just put the staking deep dive into AI and just said, "Give me some questions, bitch."
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, what is the maximum number of days for which staking HEX receives a linearly increasing bonus? A, 1,820 days. B, 3,641 days. C, 150 days. Or D, 1,000 days.
So B.
B, 3,641 days. Correct. Okay. I want everyone to go and calculate before we go to the last question. Calculate how many of you got right. How many of you got right, Bluey?
I got one wrong.
So you're 8 out of 10 right now. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 9. 8 out of 9 going into the last question. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ash has got 9 right.
Nice, Ash.
Ash is killing it.
Yeah.
In the HEX contract, what happens if the new share rate calculated at the end of a stake is lower than the current global share rate? A, the global share rate is updated to the new share rate. B, the global share rate remains the same. C, the global share rate is decreased by a fixed percentage. Or D, the global share rate is reset to its initial value.
B.
I'll read it again for the benefit of the people in the chat. In the HEX contract, what happens if the new share rate calculated at the end of the stake is lower than the current global share rate? A, the global share rate is updated to the new share rate. B, the global share rate remains the same. C, the global share rate is decreased by a fixed percentage. Or D, the global share rate is reset to its initial value.
A few different answers in the chat. Ash doesn't know. Come on, Ash.
Come on, Ash. Ash has got a 25% chance of getting this right. And the answer is B.
B.
In the HEX contract, what happens if the new share rate calculated at the end of a stake is lower than the current global share rate? Well, as we know, the share rate can only go up. So the share rate, the global share rate remains the same if the new share rate calculated at the end of the stake is lower. So it just remains the same. It doesn't go up. So yeah, the answer is B. Very good. Okay, well done. So tell me, guys, I know that Bluey got a 9 out of 10. I know that Ash got a 9 out of 10. Did anyone, Clintron's got a 9 out of 10? Anyone else? Did anyone get a 10? Did anyone like bust out a 10? I don't think so. I think we've got a 3-way victory tonight. Blue Bum, Ash, and Clintrons. Blue Bum, Ash, and Clintrons. Well done. Well done, fellas. Well.
I feel like chicken tonight, like chicken tonight, chicken tonight.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so that was good. I think the people who participate, for the most part, know the answers, man. You're pretty.
I've just looked up the definition of quadratic.
Go for it.
Quadratic means an equation or function has a term with the second power of a variable, but no higher order term. Quadratic comes from the Latin quadratus, meaning square. This refers to a squared term, which has the second power of a variable. The quadratic formula solves any quadratic equation.
Cool.
So it's a squared term. So to the power of 2.
Are you calling into question the?
It's not times 4. It's not times 4. It's times 2 squared.
Two squared.
Yeah, because you're using 2, it's 2 squared, so that actually equals 4. But it's
Okay. Yep. Gotcha. As I said, I didn't. Not that you needed to do uni maths to know that, but it has been a while since I did high school maths. But I do remember. I know quadratic, and when I looked at it, it was multiplying by 4 in relation to the other thing that was doubling.
Yeah, but what it was actually doing is it was multiplying by 2. Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. What's next, man? What's next? Have you did you watch the Tucker Carlson interview?
Putin interview. Yeah, of course I did.
Did you watch that? Yep.
Yeah.
That was full on. I've got a clip from that actually.
Yeah. What did you think of it? Was there any surprising information for you that you didn't know about?
I didn't know that there was a deal on the table that to come to peace, that Boris Johnson came in and blew up. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. That's pretty big.
They've had a number of agreements signed with Russia and Ukraine and Europe somehow fucks it up or doesn't back them up, basically. They had the Minsk 1 and Minsk 2 accords as well, which could have brought peace, but Ukraine didn't keep its end of the bargain. And then they had an agreement from Turkey, and Boris Johnson came and said, no, you don't.
Yeah, man. That's and how do you like how that went down? I mean, isn't it interesting that Ukraine, Zelensky put a kill order out on Tucker Carlson? Did you hear that?
Yeah, there's quite a few journalists that Ukraine have kill orders against, or on a hit list.
Like, but so
And they killed Gonzalo Lira already. He was an American
yo,
journalist.
if you want the support of Western democratic countries, you better chill on the killing of, journalists. You better chill the fuck out on that shit. If you want the support of Western democratic countries.
They don't seem to mind. They've still got Assange in prison. They've still got.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about Gonzalo Lira getting killed. So I think it depends on which side you're on as to whether they give a shit or not.
It's dangerous. I mean, do you think that's why we don't have many real journalists anymore?
Because it's dangerous. No, I think that journalism was institutionalized, and then the intelligence services basically over years and decades overtook those to control them. Those institutions, those big news institutions, and they kick out people who don't have who question stuff, and they just keep people in there shoveling the propaganda. But it's also that, like the internet came and kind of killed, like news journalism to an extent, because newspapers started losing all their money, so they couldn't pay journalists to do all of that kind of stuff that they used to.
No. Yeah, well, they started losing ad revenue because they're just not selling as many. But it just, all it is that everything changed. It like went more direct. I think it went more direct. I think there's still, I think with anything, you just, you can still do journalism. It's just, you may not be doing it through this big media company. You might be doing it more directly. But even that has been getting shut down over the last 10 years, and thank goodness for X, Elon Musk's X, because it seems to be, I mean, as far as the big companies go, it seems like it's the last bastion. All the other ones are just like you'll be switched off. You'll be censored very, very easily and quickly for saying something that's not in line with what they want to hear. It's interesting we're talking about like that sort of thing. I've got this video. I just saw this. This has nothing to do with anything really, but I saw this clip a couple of days ago, and I just thought that's cool, and I wanted to play it. Let me see if I can bring it up.
I think that internet swapping and trading of different things is pretty cool, man. Kids want to listen to music, I don't think bands should be so concerned with making every penny that should be squeezed out of everything. It's like, I want kids in Thailand to rock out when we show up at Thailand, I don't care if they bought the record or not. If they download it off their computer, right on. If they taped it off their friend, right on. It means they like music. I think people are too concerned with, like, it's going to kill the record industry because we're not going to be able to make every penny.
I guess that sort of relates. It's sort of similar, isn't it? Because the new world of the internet sort of ate up the music industry until it just reorganized, and it's sort of done or is doing the same thing to media, and now media has to reshuffle and redo its thing. But I think people ultimately want to hear unbiased. Yeah, people want to hear both sides. Yeah. I don't want to be told what to think. You know, I don't want to be told this is the narrative. Here you go. I want to hear this guy talk. I want to hear get that guy talk if he's mentally capable of talking, and then I want to, work out what's. And do you know what the biggest realization? And I sort of knew this beforehand, but I'll tell you what. The thing that I thought coming out of listening to that interview was Putin is quite sharp.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like he's obviously we're not Russian, so we didn't hear him in the first language. It was a translator, but he was quite articulate and able to he was able to articulate what he wanted to say. And the first thing I thought was, I doubt very much his US counterpart could do that.
Imagine Biden sitting in an interview for 2 hours. Like, what an absolute hilarious shit show that would be.
Yeah, it would never happen. The people around him would never.
It wouldn't happen to any Western politician. Like, what's the longest a Western politician has ever spoken for about anything? Like on some of these.
I've listened to plenty of Australian politicians sit down
for hours.
For like an hour, or
Yeah, an hour is the most normally.
Yeah.
Putin does like yearly over 4 hour long question and answer sessions.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to do it every year to like press from all over Russia and the world. And he also at the Maldives, he also does like big long like talks as well. Like it's just not even a comparison, like his level of knowing what he knows compared to Western leaders.
Yeah. So if it ends up being, do you think it's going to be Trump versus Biden?
Man, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, they're so out against to get Trump and they're trying all this lawfare at the moment, and they're just doing the most ridiculous things to try to get him on. So it's like, and it just keeps on coming. So it doesn't seem to be working. It just makes him more popular. But it's like, they've killed people before, the deep state. And I can't see how they would have any qualms about killing Trump if they really didn't want him to get in. So I think that's going to be
the question is, would everyone just completely revolt? Because it would be as plain as day.
It was so obvious, hey?
No, yeah, but there's still as plain as day. It's like even you could be as left-leaning as you like, but I don't think even the most hardcore left-leaning people want to see that as the outcome. You don't want to just see that. Then the US really has fallen. If that happens, that is the sign that the US has fallen, because it's no better than some third world dictatorship where assassinations and coups are taking place.
But over the years, it's become obvious that Kennedy was killed by the CIA.
Yeah.
Or like people plotting in the background there. And
I thought that they came out and said, like, I think it's known now that the CIA had a hand in it.
Well, it is for anyone who pays attention, but the official line is still.
No, I think that it's actually known now, and there are documents where it's actually known.
No, the official story is still the Warren report. Like which same with 9/11, and the official stuff is like ridiculous when you start looking into it in any detail. But that is the official line.
Well,
So I don't know. Do they kill him? And if they don't kill him, is this thing of they're flooding America with all of these migrants who the plan is they're going to get to vote for the Democrats, like, and with that and with the rigging of the machines and mail-in ballots and whatever shenanigans they want to pull. Like the one thing that Trump really failed at was like just cutting down on all those major shenanigans that happened in the last election. Like, they make it pretty obvious that, you know, there was a lot of cheating going on. And so, like, and he knew that they were going to try that. And still he didn't really put anything in place.
If the most powerful democracy in the world, the most powerful country in the world is rigging elections in this way, that doesn't say very much for democracy, man.
Well, no,
you know what I'm saying? It doesn't say, yeah, but it doesn't, like, it's sort of, if that's what they're doing to win, it's like, okay, well, that's no different than, I guess, what we know Putin does.
Right? What does Putin do?
Well, he gets rid of his political opponents. Anyone
so that's also that you've got to look into that, man. Like, what political opponents has he gotten rid of? I don't like that's Western propaganda. Like,
maybe you might be right, but it might also be true. It wouldn't surprise me. That's what people do to stay in power.
It would surprise me. It would surprise me because Putin is so popular. I don't think he would have any, like, need to knock off opponents.
Man, yeah. I don't know, man. I think when you're at the top, there's always someone coming at you. That's what I reckon. I don't think that when you're at the top of the pyramid that, you know, it's just, oh, everyone loves me, it's fine. I think there's always someone. There might be some oligarch who's unhappy about losing his 15th, you know, his 15 yachts or whatever. But yeah. Hex Rockstar saying, what about Navalny?
Oh, yeah. Navalny hasn't been killed. He's in prison. And second of all, Navalny at his height maybe got 1% of the vote. But since all of that stuff went down and people have seen that he was just a CIA-backed kind of the Western, you know, pro-backed Western kind of candidate, and he's like fucking off his nut. Like he wants, like, he's fully kind of racist and
I just think that you can't underestimate what people in power are going to do to maintain that power. And if it's just picking off a few of the up and comers, you know, and maybe it's what you're saying. Maybe they're people who are sort of backed by, you know, these three-letter agencies. I don't know, but I'm definitely speaking out of my wheelhouse. But it's interesting. Let's listen to this this clip. It's I think it's relevant to crypto.
Just to give one example, the U.S. dollar, which has kind of united the world in a lot of ways, maybe not to your advantage, but certainly to ours. Is that going away as the reserve currency, the universally accepted currency? How have sanctions, do you think, changed the dollar's place in the world?
You know, to use the dollar as a tool of foreign policy struggle is one of the biggest strategic mistakes made by the U.S. political leadership. The dollar is the cornerstone of the United States power. I think everyone understands very well that no matter how many dollars are printed, they are quickly dispersed all over the world. Inflation in the United States is minimal. It's about 3 or 3.4%, which is, I think, totally acceptable for the US. But they won't stop printing. What does the debt of $33 trillion tell us about? It is about the emission.
Как только политическое руководство приняло решение использовать доллар в качестве инструмента политической борьбы.
Nevertheless, it is the main weapon used by the United States to preserve its power across the world. As soon as the political leadership decided to use the US dollar as a tool of political struggle, a blow was dealt to this American power. I would not like to use any strong language, but it is a stupid thing to do and a grave mistake.
Сокращаются запасы доллара сейчас. Все смотрят на то, что происходит, и начинают искать возможности.
Look at what is going on in the world. Even the United States allies are now downsizing their dollar reserves. Seeing this, everyone starts looking for ways to protect themselves. But the fact that the United States applies restrictive measures to certain countries, such as placing restrictions on transactions, freezing assets, etc., causes grave concern and sends a signal to the whole world. What did we have here? Until 2022, about 80% of Russian foreign trade transactions were made in US dollars and euros. US dollars accounted for approximately 50% of our transactions with third countries, while currently it is down to 13%. It wasn't us who banned the use of the US dollar.
США приняли решение ограничить наши расчеты в долларе.
We had no such intention. It was decision of the United States to restrict our transactions in US dollars. I think it is complete foolishness from the point of view of the interests of the United States itself and its taxpayers, as it damages the US economy, undermines the power of the United States across the world. By the way, our transactions in yuan accounted for about 3%.
Сейчас 34%.
Today, 34% of our transactions are made in rubles and about as much, a little over 34% in yuan.
Зачем Соединенные Штаты это сделали?
Why did the United States do this? My only guess is self-conceit. They probably thought it would lead to full collapse, but nothing collapsed. Moreover, other countries, including oil producers, are thinking of and already accepting payments for oil in yuan. Do you even realize what is going on or not?
Ну, вы понимаете, что это такое происходит?
Does anyone in the United States realize this?
Понимаете в тех же Соединенных Штатах?
What are you doing? You are cutting yourself off. All experts say this.
То, что всегда...
Ask any intelligent and thinking person in the United States what the dollar means for the US.
But
You're killing it with your own hands.
I think that's I think that's a fair assessment. The question is what comes next.
Indeed, the question is what comes next. What does come next, Bluey?
Well,
Something. I mean,
I think
if
we
you
just
can
have
just
a multi.
inflate,
I think that's what we've got now. It's like
that's what we're getting. We're on our way to getting, right?
Russia is not going to be trading hardly anything in US dollars. China's not going to be trading hardly anything in US dollars. And like less and less people are going to, countries are going to need to go into US
So no
dollars.
one country. What we've seen is no one country can be trusted, or no one power, no one great power can ever be trusted to not inflate the money supply, because every
It's not even so much. It's not even so much about them inflating the money supply. It's about them using the currency as a geopolitical tool, like placing, like restrictions.
well,
on
if you're
countries.
but if you inflate it at the speed that they've inflated it without having any backing, then that's precisely how you use it as a geopolitical tool, because
Yeah, but-
everyone that's holding that currency, like it's the world reserve, so they just hold it, right? Their holdings are getting devalued by that country which is printing it for nothing.
Yes.
So which power is ever going to be trustworthy enough to not do that? And I think the answer is none. I think the answer
But
is none.
it's not about trustworthiness. It's like you can do that until like people stop using your currency.
And I think that's what we're starting to see.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely starting to see that, because you've got, you know, other countries like doing trade not in the US dollar anymore, like outside of the SWIFT network. So, but that will eventually just be a mess. It's going to be a mess, that legacy system of doing it. It's just going to be a mess. And I think they will all eventually move over to a better system, a system that doesn't rely on a few people in the room making decisions about rates and, you know, when to inflate or what. So yeah, I think that crypto is the best money, I think, is gonna win eventually. The best money will win. And I do think that there should be competition in that space. I don't think it should be just, you know, Bitcoin or just Ethereum or just HEX or just, you know, Pulse or just anything. I think let there be competition for money. Let's see which money is the best money, and let value flow where it's treated best.
Well, that's what we will see probably, yeah. But I don't know, like there's not a lot of incentives for countries to take on cryptocurrency as their reserve currency.
Yet.
But like if BRICS is organizing so that you can trade in all sorts of different currencies like that, like what country would want to give up their ability to print as much money as they want? And
But they
be
still
able to,
but they still can, though. That's the thing. All that you would have, like with the world reserve, like if you had a world reserve currency or world reserve crypto, what you would have is a peg to which every fiat currency around the world would be able to have an exchange rate against, just like the gold standard, where there was or it doesn't need to be just one. It could be multiple. If they all interchange and there are dexes and everything can just interchange with each other, then it doesn't matter, right? You've got this immutable stuff, right? And then you've got this other stuff around the edges that countries are using, which is not immutable, but all the immutable stuff keeps everyone in check. Does that make sense?
yeah, maybe.
We're going to find out, man. We're going to find out.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of just the best idea win. Like, I just like that. But we have to be, you know, we have to be mindful that things are going to be done to censor and to stop people from using these things freely. I mean, governments are already actively trying to do that now. So we just have to be mindful of that. I mean, we have to be mindful even with BTC. We have to be mindful of who's in BTC now. Like, I'm not saying it's not, BTC isn't a, you know, a decentralized network, but you know, who owns a lot of the coins? Like, which entities do? Who's running the mining farm? Like, who's running that stuff? Like, who's got the biggest share of the mining farms? Who's producing who is producing the chips? And how much, like, just how much control of the network do they have if they, you know, want to control it? I mean, these are questions that,
even if you've got all sorts of like tons of mining hardware. Like, it's one thing to be able to, you know, like secure the network, but to control it, like, let's say some entity gets more than 51% of the mining,
Of the
and
mining,
then they put in a transaction, which was obviously to their own betterment. It's public, so everybody sees it, and so everyone then basically goes.
But it's not about that. It's about
Yeah.
changing the rules, having the majority of the nodes, and it comes down to that, like the having the majority of the nodes voting the same way that you're voting, right? To change the core code, and then make the code.
What do they want to change it to? If you're a country and let's say you're America and you've got 51% of Bitcoin mining,
You might need more than 51%. I think 51.
let's say you have 90%. Let's just play the game.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of
changes could you make?
Would you make to the protocol? Like,
I don't know,
censorship?
maybe they stop it from. Maybe they stop the halvening working the way it
Yeah.
does. They change that. Maybe.
Yeah, but that just changes the economics of it. Like, then the price will
Doesn't
just
that-
be adjusted to the token.
Yeah. It changes.
But like, but it doesn't really control it. It just changes it, so then people have to readjust their game theory around it. But like, if they actually tried to control it, meaning they tried to censor or change transactions, then they're just shooting themselves in the foot, because then it becomes a worthless chain, and people either fork off it or they just go to other chains.
Yeah, I don't know about a worthless chain if if we're talking about, it might just be a migration of the legacy system onto this new thing, and then they go and change it the way they want to. But I don't care so much about that. What I care about is peer-to-peer electronic money that's censorship resistant. That's what I care about. I don't care what the fuck they do. I just want, like, Bluey to be able to go and custody, or at least hold the, I'll speak properly, hold the keys to the value that's being stored on chain, and decide whether he wants to spend or not have like a third party censor you or me.
Yeah, obviously.
Or anyone.
Yeah, so
but that's
what I'm
not going to
saying.
happen if they've got control of the, like, if they're controlling the majority of the nodes, then they can do what they want, basically.
Yeah, but if they do, and everyone sees that they did something dodgy, like censorship resistance, censor something, then they basically like devalue that whole network, and so they're just kind of like,
maybe to you and I, they might, to you and I, but to the hedge funds, they're not. The hedge funds might be happy with that, and the vast majority of the money or the wealth. But what I see, that's the thing. I don't care if that's what they want to do and that's the direction they take it, as long as we remember that what we need is censorship resistant peer-to-peer cash, right?
it's exactly like what they're doing to the US dollar. Like, they control that network, and as soon as they exert that control by like censoring transactions in other countries, it's basically then all of a sudden all of these other countries start organizing for other currencies that they're going to trade in. So they shot themselves with the US dollar network. They're shooting themselves in the foot by censoring, because then people won't value it as much, and people want to get out of it and trade in something else to get around their sanctions. So it'd be the same thing if they started censoring, it'd be doing the exact same thing that they're doing to the US dollar at the moment. Now, that doesn't mean that it all goes to shit within a couple of days, although it could. It means, like, because you've got so much legacy, like, thought, that's everyone's so used to, pricing everything in terms of US dollars, and like the whole system is set up in US dollars at the moment. So yes, there's tons of people, even though they're printing and they're censoring, people are fine with that because they think, well, they've got their reason. They're stopping terrorism or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, like, they're just devaluing their own, they're shooting themselves in the foot. And they do the same with if they ever overtook something like Bitcoin. Because people would know, because it's all public.
Look, they could, yeah, they would know. And I think here in the chat, RGS has said there would just be a fork. Yeah, there'd be a fork.
Yeah.
That's what there'd be. And you know, but look, that's why I think that's why I have a problem with, I don't think there's one anything. Like I don't think there's just like, oh, this is the be all and end all. At the moment, BTC has the biggest network effect. It's got the biggest, you know, level of participation of big players, like money wise. But like Ethereum's pretty not doing badly. Ethereum's doing pretty well, and Ethereum's got like, Ethereum in my mind is where or EVM, I should just say in general, EVM is where things can happen. That's where things are happening. You know, that's where
Yeah,
I mean, think about
definitely.
it. I heard Charles Hoskinson talk about algorithmic stablecoins. So and that we need to move away from the other stablecoins as soon as we can and get onto these algorithmic ones like Liquidity, you know, and things like liquid loans and things like this. You know, it is early days, but if crypto can have its like crypto native stable coins, that solves a lot of the problems. You know, it solves a lot of the problems in my mind, because then you don't need to go out to an asset backed one that, you know, they can turn off the coins. You know, they've got control. They can turn them off just like they can with USDC. And you don't have to go into an exchange. It just gives it, if all the infrastructure is there for people to be able to do what they want on chain, and it stay there, then you know, and hopefully it gets to the point where that's not even needed. You know,
You know what's
you don't need-
crazy? What's really crazy is that ETH Classic is still around, and that it's a like, people still, I guess they must be buying it, you know, buying and selling it.
And they will in the next run up. It's going to do. It will. I actually heard Adam Stokes talking about this. He's like, you know, Bitcoin Cash is probably going to do a 5x. You know, Ethereum Classic, it's probably going to do a few X's as well. Like these things will still, they'll still pump. You know, they'll still pump.
Yeah.
His thesis is that people get in and they see Bitcoin at 40 grand, 40, 50 grand, and then they see like Bitcoin Cash at a few $100s, and they're like,
that's cheaper.
I'm going to go with the cheaper one. I can have a few of them, and I can only have like a very small percentage of this. Hey, so let's have a look at the.
It's surprising that people haven't launched Solidity. Like, there's so many contracts that could have been launched on Ethereum Classic. Like HEX, you could take the HEX contract and launch it on Ethereum Classic, couldn't you?
There probably wouldn't even be any. I'm not sure if you could. I'm not sure if they have the same smart contract infrastructure.
Isn't it? I thought it was exactly the same. Solidity, no?
Yeah, the smart contracts weren't. You couldn't do smart contracts from the start. Pretty sure.
Yes, you could for Ethereum.
Could you?
Yeah. That was the whole point.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, that's how people could launch their tokens, because every single token is a contract.
But was that from the very start, or was that something that got rolled in later?
No, that was from the start. I imagine there'd be a whole lot of EIPs that would be
It's
different.
before my
Like
time in
Ethereum
crypto.
Classic is probably still proof of work, hey?
Yeah, would be. Definitely would
Mm.
be. I don't think they. So let me just bring up this. Yeah, what have we got? We have got Pulse. Not bad. Almost 50% up on sack rate. PulseX. I mean, if you look at these figures, I think these are usually 24-hour figures, aren't they? These percentage figures. So they look, they look modest, but if you know what this ecosystem's been doing for the last, like if we do 7 days or 30 days, like PulseX has gone up 27% in the last 30 days. Inc token has gone up 100% in the last 30 days. HEX is up in the last 24 hours. HEX is up 8%, but it's actually down 4%, almost 5% in the last 30 days. And what else have we got? We've got HEX Scout. We can see HEX on Ethereum is over 1 cent. We've been hanging around under 1 cent for quite a while. We popped up over it a little while, maybe a month ago, and then we came back. But it's nice to be back over there again, and we're sitting on 1.84 cents on Pulse HEX. Coin Paprika, Bitcoin sitting at $49,993, just a cup of coffee under 50 grand. Ethereum is pushing towards that $2,700 mark. Do you think we're going to get over three grand in Ethereum anytime soon?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if Bitcoin keeps going up, why wouldn't Ethereum also?
PulseChain on Coin Paprika at number 49. And then we've got PulseChain HEX at number 56. And HEX from Ethereum at number 84. It'd be nice to see all three of them. Do you think we'll see all three of them in the top
10?
And look, PulseX is at number 66.
Oh, they got PulseX now. That's cool.
PulseX is at number 66. And I'm just wondering, is Inc in here? Inc token in here?
Maybe it was Inc they didn't have. Yeah.
You would think it would be in here. What's the market? What's the supply of Inc token? Total supply is 24 million. 24 million. And what's the market cap is 79 million. So does this give me a market cap here?
Let's do a search on Inc.
Well, this is it wouldn't be here. Oh, this has only got 300. No, it's got more. 79 million.
Here it is. It's at number 4,329.
What's it at?
Ranked 4,329
on Coin Paprika.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
It should be higher than that because its market cap is 79. So they're listing it incorrectly. They must not be getting the right data through because it's 79 and that should be around this 300 and should be around this 370, 380 sort of mark right here.
Yeah, I just this morning I was helping my cousin end a stake, and he was looking at his pulse sacrifice, and on MetaMask, it was like listing his pulse sacrifice for like a third of the actual value of what it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
or even less,
bro,
actually.
MetaMask sucks.
Yeah. Get off MetaMask. Rabby.
Internet money. Internet money.
Yeah. I've been telling internet money to people who don't want to use a laptop, just want to use their phone.
Yeah. You know you can use Trezor Suite with a Trezor on your mobile phone?
You can with internet money, you can use a Trezor. So that doesn't surprise me.
So if you've got a Trezor and you can use Trezor Suite software on your mobile phone and like sign a transaction on the device, on the Trezor device, it's pretty cool. I know a lot of people like, oh, don't do crypto on your phone. Yo, if you're signing it on the device off your phone, like, what's the problem?
It's on that device. Yeah.
Yeah, so dude, it's nice to see things going in a positive direction. It's really, really nice to see, Bitcoin over 50 grand. We're still sitting here going like, when's going to be our time? But I think it's like, I feel very positive and confident about the whole thing, I just think that it's all good, it's all good. I mean, everyone always wants a pump today. Everyone wants the pump today. But hey, if a few people like duck out and go chase gains in other places and sell at these prices to do that, I'm not going to complain. So go do it, I've got a clip here from a senator in the Australian Parliament, Australian Senate, I should say, in the upper house. I actually forget what it's about. I'll just throw it on.
Thank you. I take note that when the World Economic Forum launched their social media campaign in 2018 carrying the slogan, "You will own nothing and be happy," I thought, finally, the predatory billionaires who try to run the world had shown their hand. The public can finally see their fate if the World Economic Forum are allowed to succeed. That didn't happen. The media, who have the same owners as the World Economic Forum, persisted with calling the World Economic Forum's evil agenda a conspiracy theory. Even in this place, there are only a handful of senators with the courage to call out the agenda for what it is: economic exploitation and social control. Over the break, the World Economic Forum revealed another aspect of their plan when they launched a campaign against laundry. Yes, really, laundry. Jeans should not be washed more than once a month, most other clothes once a week. You will wear dirty clothes and be smelly, apparently, and happy. The temptation is to laugh at their desire to control even mundane aspects of our lives, yet the truth is much more frightening than that. The World Economic Forum have now turned their evil agenda to food. The campaign against farming is really a campaign against one of the necessities of life: food. Predatory billionaires, parasitic billionaires, owning near-urban intensive production facilities, producing food-like substances for the masses, forcing the public into acceptance to the World Economic Forum's fake global warming scam. These are their own stated motives: control food, control people. Who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy can control whole continents. Who controls money can control the world. The World Economic Forum and the predatory billionaires they represent are currently trying to do all three. The Greens, Labor and the globalist Liberals will, of course, support the World Economic Forum. It's time the Australian Parliament stands up for farmers and rural communities and for all Australians.
This is that politician is an Australian senator by the name of Malcolm Roberts, and he was speaking in the Australian Senate in the upper house. That's just to Yoden there, mate. Just to your question. And I also found this. Not sure if you've ever seen this before. Did you read what they said on there?
Most of it. Which part are you referring to?
The part where they're like, oh, they used to have to change the roll, like, six times a day or whatever, and now only 4 times a day, and they're like, it's been a great success. It's like, so you're only giving out, like, you're limiting it to 4 rolls a day. It's been a success. Like, I bet if you limit it to 3 rolls a day, you'll be even more successful.
That's really safe.
So that is, I mean, it might sound bizarre or whatever, but that is the direction. That's the direction. I like to bring these things up because I know it gets the women very upset. It gets the women extremely upset, more so than guys. But when women see like a toilet paper, there were no women, like hardly any women in that whole that clip.
They
just guys just saying, yes, this is awesome, like, great, that's awesome. All the women, like, they didn't want to be on it at all, not interested. How many like, seriously, like, how many inches was it? I think it was 29 inches they gave you. 28 inches.
Yeah. I think how big is that toilet paper? But not all toilet paper is made the same either. Like, you get very sturdy toilet paper, and then you get that you don't need, you don't need
2-ply, 3-ply, 4-ply.
Then you get in kind of crappy stuff where you need heaps of it to, like, do a proper job.
You need to double it over. Yeah.
But the whole idea of toilet paper, I think, is really, like, I was in India recently, and it's like such a pleasure to always have a little squirter, little water gun handy to clean yourself properly and, like, not be using toilet paper.
Absolutely.
And it's really weird in places like Colombia and Mexico. You have like, their plumbing is not good enough to have their paper be flushed down the toilet. So you've got to kind of, like, wipe it and then throw it in a bin, which is in the toilet there.
Stinks. It just stinks.
It's disgusting. It's like, get yourself hoses. Get yourself a fucking hose. Come on, guys.
There was a part of France I stayed once where it was like that. It was like,
they have bum guns?
No. They just the plumbing wasn't good enough for paper in the toilets.
I've been in a few countries. It's like that.
And
it's like,
dude,
and
it's so rank to have to smell other people's intestines.
I was in Costa Rica, right? I was saying in Costa Rica, in this fucking mansion, like this. There was a whole group of us, and we rented out an Airbnb, and it was just like this fucking millionaire's mansion kind of place. And there you couldn't flush the toilet paper down the toilet. And I'm just thinking, why do you fucking build these new places with plumbing so shit you can't flush the? Like, it's crazy. Like,
but maybe it's the other pipes outside of the building that can't handle it.
I guess, yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Like, I'm sure they can put nice big pipes in the building, but there's always going to be that bottleneck where the turds can't get through.
Yep.
Oh, man.
The US dollar is basically the toilet paper currency of the world, isn't it? And everyone's flushing it down the dunny.
Well, that's what you would do with all that money in in these, in Venezuela, for example. You just never buy toilet paper again.
Use it for toilet paper.
You just use it for toilet paper.
But we
You
couldn't
know?
do that in Australia. We've got the plastic money in Australia.
Although, having said that, you just use it for toilet paper. It is sort of a bit dirty. Like you're just using this, 30,000 people have touched this note, and then you just, maybe not. Maybe not. I didn't think that one through. Maybe not. They'd have to be fresh bills straight from the mint. Did you see this? I want to know what you think of this article right here. Crypto cyber unit at SEC braces for exodus, Gasparino says. Several seasoned enforcement attorneys are poised to leave their posts within the crypto assets and cyber division of the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. That's according to Fox Business correspondent Charles Gasparino, who on Feb 9 warned that there had been an increased circulation of resumes from current SEC staff, a sign that many of them were looking to jump ship. The report comes as undercurrents of discontent continue to surface alongside assertions within the crypto industry that the agency chair, Gary Gensler, is overly restrictive with companies.
It's not surprising, but by the same token, I can't imagine it's very hard for the SEC to not get new recruits. Like that'd be a pretty primo job if you're in that kind of that niche.
But it's just that it's in the crypto, because they've got a rule where you can't own crypto.
Oh, is that why you think they don't want to?
Well, the reason I brought it up is because I think, maybe I see everything from an RH perspective. I see it through the RH ecosystem lens. But wouldn't it be funny? Let's just do this thought experiment. These guys, imagine that these guys are leaving because they don't want to catch an L against Richard Hart's case, which is,
all the crypto companies at the moment.
All of them, yeah, with the Coinbase, all of them. But in particular, Richard Hart's one, because he's going so back to basics with constitution arguments. I just wonder. I wonder whether that's just interesting. If that was can you imagine if they were just leaving because they're like, screw this. I don't want to catch this definite L on my record. I don't want to be the guy.
That's got a lot to do with it. If you've been there for a while, and it's probably not great pay compared to the private sector. If you could get yourself a job in the private, which is a lot of what that career trajectory would be for those guys. Their first jobs would probably be in regulation, in SEC and stuff, or one of their earlier jobs. And then they use that to leverage into private jobs because, who is Richard hiring ex-SEC people for his lawyers? And you can bet he's paying them a lot more than the SEC pay their lawyers. So, it's not surprising that they'd be jumping ship if they thought it was going downhill, and they didn't want to be part of that shit show. But by the same token, there's going to be plenty of people who, probably give their left limb for a job like that.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna choose to live in what some might call a fantasy world where these guys are running scared. I reckon these guys are running scared. They don't want to be there when all their especially if it's not just a regular L. What if it's not a regular L? What if it's an L that sets a precedent? like a very strong legal precedent.
Well, that would have to be at the Supreme Court level, probably, hey? So nothing's going to happen until like that happens.
So maybe they just want to leave before that happens.
I think they all just want they want laws. They want the lawmakers to fucking come in and give them proper regulations. And they're probably getting pressure to put all these to have this war against crypto, but it's because it's all in this there's no laws that actually apply to it properly, you know. So it's all in this grey area, which is why they can bring all of these.
That's sort of like I liken the SEC to the ATO in Australia. I mean, they're like they're completely different. Like one's a tax agency, one's and the other one's Security Exchange Commission. They're different, but the way they go about their job is very similar. They just this is the way it is, bitch. Comply.
Yeah.
Or yeah, and it's just it's like, where's the law?
They can take it to civil court, hey?
Yeah. I just think that this way of government this way that government agencies go about doing stuff is not. I just don't think it's like the way they should be going about it, you know. And look, maybe there's an argument to be made that they're underfunded. I don't know, or maybe they'd just do more of the same if they had more resources. But I don't like the way that they go about doing this. Like, just this is the way it is. Prove us wrong, you know. That's sort of the mentality that's taken to it. But yeah. What else did I? Oh, did you see this tweet by Elon Musk? I love puppies. Sort of reminded me of this stream by Richard Hart. Richard Hart loves puppies.
You haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
I think so. I remember it. What is it?
It's just a live stream. Yeah, it was just one of his live streams from like almost 2 years ago.
How many views on it?
How many views on that? 94,000 views. 94,000 views. What's that?
I wonder if it worked. If it clickbaited people.
Well, 94,000 views is not bad.
Not bad, yeah. It depends what his average is. Yeah.
Let me grab this link.
So I don't get what did
Ash
what did Elon's post? Oh, was that like a Doge reference for Elon's post? Is that what you were saying, or?
It might be. It might be. Hey, so Ash put a link in the chat for a song.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm trusting you, Ash. I'm trusting that A, we're not going to get ripped off YouTube, and B, that there's nothing that will offend my parents who watch the show.
Under watch HEX pumping up the chart.
Hang on, let me start again.
It's fun to watch HEX pumping up the charts. It's left behind all kinds of broken hearts who didn't buy the dip, who didn't DCA, and now that we're on a rip, it's hard to look away. Now I'm not the one to hand out free advice. price. But as for me, I wouldn't dare think twice about buying a bag, since we're still somewhat down this rocket ship's about to break the speed of sound. You know these wheels are starting to roll. Best to sit back and just enjoy the show, 'cause we're about to ride that train into the heart of Mexico. Now, I tip my hat to everyone who minds. You're getting paid out while you're killing time. It makes room for a nice vacation to the beach, perhaps a celebration now that you are rich. Ha ha! Ignore the haters who all called you crazy. You studied hard while they were being lazy. Now you're packing bags, about to take a ride up on that rocket ship, mooned up and starry-eyed. I feel these wheels are starting to roll. Best to sit back and just enjoy the show, 'cause we're about to ride that train into the heart of Mexico. Now that we're summer bound and the sun is bright, I see that it's not round but rather has 6 sides. It's a work of art that's written into code, designed by Richard Hart to make our bags explode. You know these wheels are starting to roll. Best to sit back and just enjoy the show, 'cause we're about to ride that train into the heart of Mexico. Yeah, we're about to ride that train into the heart of Mexico.
Cool, man. Thanks, Ash. Thanks for that. That's cool. That's that guy's called Scott Foster Harris. Scott Foster Harris. Is that when? How long ago was that from? Oh, that's from 8 hours ago. Yo, that's new. 8 hours ago. Cool. Awesome, man. Awesome.
Nice.
I was getting like, you know, sitting on the dock of the bay vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Dude, so is there anything that you wanted to discuss?
Do you think this is a bull trap?
Nah. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't know. I think we're going up. You know, we might have a little. It
Nice
might
little
break
dip
down.
before we go,
It might break down a little bit, but I think we're going up, man. I think. I mean, I'll talk about crypto in general. I won't talk about necessarily the stuff that we're in.
Yeah, just generally, like BTC and ETH and everything. Do you think do you have a strategy for when you kind of go back into like US dollars?
Not on stream, I don't. Look, I definitely wouldn't be sitting here telling people to DCA. I wouldn't sit here and tell people and say, oh, you know, I think it's a good idea to DCA if I'm dollar cost averaging out. You know,
Right.
I wouldn't do that. I think we're still, especially in like the RH ecosystem, I still think we're in DCA territory here, like very much so. I mean, just if I look historically at where this stuff has been, where this has been, where HEX has been, and just how much like noise was made in the bear market, and how much noise is going to be made when we like, if like, just think when the hex price, when the hex price does like hits 10 cents or whatever, 5 cents, 10 cents, think about how much noise like the community is going to make. Going to be making a lot of noise, man. And everyone's going to be like celebrating on Twitter, like they're going to be celebrating on streams. Everyone's going to be laughing, dancing, doing handstands, doing backflips in the front yard, doing all sorts of stuff to celebrate. And that, and then when you couple that with like just a chart that is green, and then crypto as a whole, like what was interesting today, I spoke to some people and they actually mentioned to me, they're like, oh, BTC is up. And they don't generally pay attention, but that just made me pay attention to them. It made me pay attention to them saying, it's like, oh, okay. So for them to know, then it's in the media. For them to know it's in legacy media, because they're not on Twitter. They're not like.
I think that's what you have to. I think that's what you have to really watch, because like what I realized last time was that I have friends who are so anti-crypto, especially one friend who's like anti-crypto. He thinks it's just all horse shit, and he contacted me about how he gets HEX at the top last time, and so I'm just waiting for that extra. I'm just waiting for that message from him, and that's going to be my top signal, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a part. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm going to be very honest with the people who I've told about it in the past. I'll be honest with them. When it's it depends where we are. Like if someone called me tomorrow and said, "Look, I want to get some stuff," I'd be like, "Hell yeah!" Like I think you're just like getting in by the skin of your teeth. Like,
yeah. But DCA as well. But keep it
DCA as well, because you don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know what's good for people. People have to make their own decisions. You and I both don't know.
Financial advisors, I wouldn't trust any kind of person who calls himself a financial advisor, especially about crypto.
What kind of person who's made money would waste their time trying to educate other people on making money? Seriously, why would you do that as a job? Here, I'm going to teach you how to make money.
Well, you
just
would
have
if you
to pay me for it.
Crypto. Well, yeah, that's a different thing. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I think that people, if anyone is getting in now, I think there's plenty of scope to make some potentially plenty of scope to make some gains in crypto, and specifically in the RH ecosystem, man, because there's just a lot of, I think there's a lot of potential there still. And there's just so much noise has been made, where so many seeds have been planted for the bull run, for the hyper bull, as we like to call it.
So also, I saw a tweet from Dipcatcher just before. I think the pool party contractors, the audit has come back, and it's all good to go. So that's one. There's if you held any maxi at the time of the snapshot, or maybe some other stuff as well, I think you get if you held a number of different things like water, maxi, I guess the other derivatives, you can get free pool party, the token for it. And if you stake that token, I think you can I've just started going through the tokenomics of it, but it looks kind of, interesting. I mean, hopefully it encourages a lot of people to lock up a lot more HEX.
What is the point? Like, what's pool party? It's
basically
where you can make. Is it where you can do stakes with other people? It's like your own version of Deci or like the perpetuals.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So you can get together with people that have bags and say, "Yo, do you guys all want to get together and just? We won't tell each other whose addresses they are, but we'll just all throw in, and like we
Or
just
you can
want to
just
get."
start it and see if it takes off. I mean, what you have to remember with that sort of stuff is that if you're going to be going into small pools like that, the chances of you having liquidity for like cashing out your token, it probably won't be worth what actual value it has.
See, I wouldn't be looking at it in those terms though, if that makes sense. I'd be looking at it. It's like, okay, I can't get to 150 million HEX by myself, but maybe if 50 of us or 100 of us get together, maybe we can. Maybe if we can get a group of 100 people together, we can all put in enough and get to 100, and then we get that extra. And like if we stake it out 10 years, and we get that extra 3% bigger pays better. I know it's 10%, but it's 10% based on the base rate.
Right.
If you're getting the longer pays better, then it only ends up being 3.3% or something.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
But it's still that's significant.
Yeah.
It's significant enough for it to be like
worthwhile.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Especially if you're talking about, things that you want to put out that far. Why not get the max that you can get out of it? But the question is, do you get any of the other benefits? Any of the other, like you do give up something when you do things like that. You give up.
Yeah, you might. Yeah.
You give up Hedron probably, or do you get the Hedron?
That's what I haven't fully sussed out. Like there's something to do with Hedron and communists, and I'm not exactly sure, like what the dealio is. I have to look at it.
Why don't we have a look at it and then we can perhaps talk about it next week, because it is
we'll next week. Yeah,
very much related to HEX, and it's built on top of HEX. So I'm interested. I'm a big fan of all the actually, before we wind it up, let's just have a quick look at the perpetuals, because I'm a big fan of them. I think that's a great option for people who, because you can get a discount basically. All right, so everything, like the only one that's really you're getting any sort of discount is the Deci on Pulse, and you can get a discount on a 28% discount on Ethereum for Deci, and the others are quite small. Isn't it interesting that Base has a 57% premium? Isn't that
really?
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, because it's only it's 1.03 backing, but the price is 1.62.
Wow.
In terms of HEX. Isn't that interesting?
Why wouldn't people be selling that? Sell it, turn into HEX, and then make another stake.
It's you know what? The liquidity is probably really probably rubbish. That this will probably get someone watching this stream is going to look at this and go, I'm selling my base, and it's going to drop it down to 10, 10% or something. But yeah, that's all fair play. All fair play. I didn't show you that screen, did I?
Which one?
This one.
I'm just looking at. Oh yeah, no, you didn't. I'm just looking at it now. Oh yeah.
I always do that, man.
I didn't
I'm
realize
working
that
on-
showed. Listen.
I'm working off one screen, and I
Hmm.
really should have two screens. So I could have one screen to like look at you and control the, control the restream, but then have another screen for anything that I cut to, like anything that I'm bringing up. But and that's why I always forget to bring up the screen in restream here. But yeah, there we go. And you can see 57% premium on Ethereum for base, and there's a 26% discount on DESI.
Is that Ethereum or PulseChain you're looking at?
This one's Pulse, but the base premium is on Ethereum.
Right. I'm just looking at the Ethereum liquidity. It's got liquidity is 15,000 on base.
Oh, so it's not $15,000.
Yeah.
How many base? Should say it on Deck Screener.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. Oh no, hang on. Yeah, there's a 5.2k buy volume, 1.3k sell volume. Where does
it doesn't say?
Like how much actual hex?
Like how much is in the liquidity pool?
Well, it says the total liquidity is 15k, so that's when it's on either side. So it's not much. I mean, you could just have a look at it. You could just go to Uniswap and see how much slippage.
Is it what? Are you looking at DESI or base?
I was looking at base. Oh god, they still don't have. You can't fucking put hex in to Uniswap, the cunts. Is it Hedron? Uniswap.
Maximus base.
So base. Was it Maximus base or something? No, I've got to get the contract. It's annoying. Here we go. Okay. So base.
Pooled base is 347,000 pooled base, and just over 1 million hex pooled.
Oh yeah, you can. So you can do a bit. I'm just looking at 100,000 hex here. That's 1.2% slippage. 1 million hex is going to get 10% slippage. So you could definitely do a couple of 100,000 or something.
Yep. That's good. Yeah. So we've been going for just over 2 hours. It's been a good stream. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on, mate, before we wind it up?
No, that's all good. Yeah, all good.
All good. Let me just double check that I didn't miss out on playing something. Oh yeah, I did actually. Let me just play this. I guess I'll play this as our outro. Yeah, big shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you very much for coming along. It's been fun. Make sure you, if you enjoyed the stream, or you thought it was okay, click the like and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you.